What up? This is Bridger Frederick. Welcome to my channel. This is my bulldog Penelope. She was being super noisy and annoying on the ground, so I brought her up to chill with me. So this channel is all about staying healthy, wealthy, and happy post spinal cord injury. I'm a T10 paraplegic, and yeah, going to talk about something that's pretty controversial, I've noticed, and that is the fact that I believe I deserve to be paralyzed. And it's something that I'm going to tell you a story and my perspective on it, and maybe you'll see eye to eye with me. I didn't really go into much explanation, but I can assure you the doctors and the nurses while I was inpatient were not a fan of that perspective, even when I tried to explain it briefly. But so to really understand what I mean by that, going back to a couple days right before I got injured, I was down in La Junta, Colorado. I was buying cattle for a buddy of mine. I was working for him. He owns like basically a cattle brokerage for all intents and purposes. And I was down there at an auction at a stockyard, bidding on some cattle that I was going to haul back up to Greeley, Colorado, or Alt, Colorado, just north of Greeley, where we were living and working. And so the long story short is I bought cattle all day, and I was staying in this little hotel in this area of with stockyards all around it. And I was hanging out, and I was like meditating, and I think I ate like a 5 milligram like CBD weed edible because it's Colorado and it's just readily available there, and to sleep, and not like induced by the marijuana, but like literally all of a sudden, for no other reason, I just got like, it was like I got struck by a bolt of lightning, and I just like started having like a full-blown panic attack of like, and like this hyper awareness and realization of everything. You want to get down? You better not be annoying when you're down there. She was scratching her bowl and stuff, and so I was having this like hyper clarity moment of realizing everything that I wanted and that I should have been doing, and I knew that I had a greater purpose in life, and that I was pursuing the cattle industry for the wrong reason, because I wanted to learn anything and everything about the cattle industry and learn how to run a large cattle operation, because ultimately my goal was to buy a huge amount of wilderness property, and the only way I could fathom paying for the taxes on such a huge piece of property in the mountains of Idaho or Montana or something is by running cattle on it. And I wanted to do, grass-fed, like basically out in the wild cattle, and do liver supplements and collagen supplements and all sorts of stuff. So my end goal was admirable, but the way that I had basically taken the stance that I was going to get there by any means necessary, and I was just treating myself in a way that I really didn't respect and I didn't like, and I was just becoming a person who I wasn't proud of, to be quite honest. And so that's not like any justification or reason that I thought I should be spinal cord injured. So just hang on, hold your horses. But so that moment was super intense. I mean, my heart was beating like 180 beats per minute, just sitting still. I eventually went on a walk, and then all the cows were like mooing and stuff all around me, and I was like, I just literally had to go for a run. I was literally in jeans and like boots, and I went and ran like 5 or 6 miles, and was pouring sweat. I literally came back to my hotel, and normally if I was feeling anxiety or stress about anything, go for a long hard run, and that would dissipate at least a little bit. But it was like even worse. I mean, I could hardly catch my breath. I was like panicking, and it was so crystalline clear to me what I should do, why I should do it, like everything that needed to be done. Like, it was like this amazing, really visceral moment of clarity that I've quite honestly never experienced before, and especially never experienced just out of the blue for no reason. And basically, I went to bed, made all these, like, just to get rid of the anxiety, made all these vows and promises to myself and the universe and God, whatever it was. Like, I was just like, please make this stop. Like, I see what I'll do. And basically, I felt and believed that for about 24 hours or so, and then a series of things happened. I got stressed out, and I was just like, I just went straight back into the same mentality of like, ruthlessly, like, I just want to, like, I want to provide value for people and have a good business and everything like that, but I want to make money at all costs. I was working 12 to 17 hours a day if I had to, and was just, yeah, it's hard to describe without having lived inside my head for the 25 years previously like I had. But I lived an amazing life prior to injury. By my standards and opinions, I traveled all over the world. I've been to, like, I don't even know how many, at least 15, maybe 20 different countries, lived long term in at least 5 or 6 different countries, cycled a couple thousand miles through Africa, sleeping in a tent, and just really tried to live life to the fullest and in a way that was consistent with my values. And during that time, I learned a ton about myself. I got really, really crystal clear about what I wanted, where I was going, and my values and principles that I was going to adhere by in order to get there. And I just, frustration and impatience and a bad attitude and poor habits made me lose sight of that, and I became a shit. Like, I was not living in line with what I deemed to be the principles that would bring me the greatest health, wealth, and happiness long term. And so, long story short, a couple days later, I've completely divested all interest in doing it the right way, and was right back into my old habits, right back in my old ways. And my girlfriend and I went out to brunch and hung out and had some fried chicken and just walked around Fort Collins and chilled all day. And when we were driving home that evening, I ended up diverting from going home that night to go just pull a dead cow out of a pen at the feedlot. And while I was on the way there, I was driving this direction, and another car was driving this direction, and they turned. They had their blinker on, and I was cruising at like 80, 85 miles per hour, like hauling ass on some Colorado back road, and they turned right in front of me. I clipped the front of their vehicle, their little pickup, and it shot my pickup sideways and off towards the corner of this intersection. And I didn't have a seatbelt on. My back was up against the ceiling of my pickup truck. Thank God my girlfriend Kelsey was laying in her seat with the seatbelt on, and she was like laying fully back. So, like, if you can imagine, my back, she's laying back in the passenger seat like this, and my back is like, we're flipping through the air, and my hands are on the steering wheel, my face is towards the front of the vehicle, and my back is up against the ceiling of the truck. And at that point, we smoked a telephone pole, like dead middle of my back, right in front of her. I mean, it crushed. Like, if I had been wearing my seatbelt, I would be dead right now, because it crushed my like the headrest of my seat and my seat down. So that, I mean, if I had strapped in, it would have been actually worse, more than likely. So long story short is, right when it happened, I mean, Kelsey was knocked unconscious, and we were actually on the phone, on speakerphone, with her little brother. And I immediately, like, as soon as we stopped, I was confused about what happened, because I knew, like, flipping, I realized we were flipping, and like, I was expecting all of a sudden to just start rolling or whatever, and we just like stopped with the most insane impact ever imaginable. I obviously couldn't breathe, had all the wind knocked out of me, because I hit that telephone pole, broke my back in 20 places, displaced it, like fractured it in like either 18 or 21 places. And then 3 major displacements at like C5, T10 where I got the spinal cord injury, and at L3, like this, there was major like vertebrae displacement and ruptured liver, punctured lung, and I was like, all my ribs on my right side and back were like ripped off my spine and broken. Like it just, like I was owned. Kelsey was like gurgling blood, and it was as soon as it happened, like I had another really weird, unprovoked, unthought about like moment of clarity, and it was just like shit. Like I literally just, in a really strange, like hard way to describe, clearly pictured all of the decisions and the events that led to that moment, and how a series of little decisions where I went against my principles and my values had led me down right to that moment. And it had happened, and I had a clear, for whatever reason, whatever spirituality or thing you are, or if you're not spiritual at all, like it doesn't matter. I had a very clear, obvious warning a few days before, and then it just tied together perfectly with it happening. And so when I say I deserve to be paralyzed, maybe I don't deserve all of the suffering and the pain and the magnitude of just torture that it has been for the last 2.5 years, but it is quite literally what has forged me into the person that I am today. And it's just like, I mean, it's the anvil just beating you into the shape that you're meant to be. Like, it's pain, it's suffering, it hurts, but you know, that's how you end up becoming who you are. And so I couldn't be more grateful for that happening, like, and for the path, like, diverting me in the way that it has. And I've had that feeling multiple times throughout being injured, and there's definitely times I don't feel that way. You know, it's the hardest thing I've ever gone through. It is quite literally torture a lot of the time. Like, it's the nerve pain and the actual pain and just the inability to do things that I love, and the struggle and just the frustration and the incredible financial cost and the difficulty in pursuing things that I love is so hard. I mean, the challenge is unreal, and anyone who knows me, I've always lived under the mantra that, that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I've pushed my body and my mind to its limits forever. I'll always take the harder path. If there's a 7-mile hiking trail to get to the top of a mountain, I'll convince anyone that I'm with that we should walk around, like turn it into a 13-mile trip of a rugged, terrible way. Like, it's just, I really enjoy those moments of great comfort and clarity and understanding that I only find myself personally through incredible amounts of struggle. So when I say that, do I think everyone who gets paralyzed deserves to be paralyzed? Absolutely not. No, I don't think everything that happens to people, for reasons directly caused by their actions. But I do think that if you look deeply and closely into any event that happened in your life, you can probably take 100% full responsibility for it if you want to. If you look at and that goes for good events and bad events, that goes for luck and bad luck. Like, if you really dig deep and are willing to, be clear and take the rap and take the heat, for me, I like to take responsibility. I really have always felt like I am the master of my own little universe that I live inside of. And as soon as I put the responsibility on someone else, it was clearly the other guy's fault. He literally, at the very last second, turned directly in front of me and smashed into the front of my truck and nearly killed both me and my girlfriend. I was pretty sure I was going to die there for you know, at least the first 15, 20 minutes, just because my body was like so stretched out, and I was just like, I could feel I thought I had more internal damage than just like the lung and the liver, just because I felt like so much stuff was like moving around in there, and obviously I couldn't feel my legs and whatever, like the lower half of my body. So hey, girls, we can play fight after, okay? I'll take you out for a walk as soon as I'm done. Let's be quiet right now, though. But yeah, so that's the moral of the story. Is it's not that I think I necessarily deserve all the suffering that comes along with being paralyzed. I just think I deserve everything that happens in my life, good and bad. I really do feel like I have control of my destiny, and that might be delusional, it might be a coping mechanism, it might be all sorts of things, but I can't help myself. I've always believed that I was destined to do something great and to provide love and happiness and service to large amounts of people, and that I would be rewarded with all the things I love and enjoy in return for doing that. Like, that's just my perspective. That's how I feel, and part of that perspective is saying that you are responsible and deserve anything and everything that's happening to you. And obviously that's really hard for some people to imagine, and maybe it's not right. I don't know. I have no idea if it's right. But it's what I do, and it brings me great motivation. It brings me contentedness. It doesn't allow for any space for anger. I was never angry at the other person. And I cannot say that so my girlfriend Kelsey was knocked out. She had a serious head injury. Had she died, or she was the one that had the injury that I had, I don't think I could, take this perspective without like years of therapy or like coaching or serious work. I don't know what I would have done. So I'm not saying that it's right for every situation. But for me, like never having anger or resentment or feeling like it was unfair or that I didn't deserve this and that I was better, like that, when I saw other people who were shitty or doing whatever in their own ways and like they're perfectly able-bodied and happy and having whatever, like I never had to have that resentment or that jealousy or whatever, because I just felt like I was responsible. So girls, but anyways, that's my cue. Hope you enjoyed. If you're out there and you have any opinions or thoughts on that, drop them in the comment section down below, and you can hit me up on the best way to hit me up is probably Instagram, and it's Bridger Lee Frederick on there. And then, I'm Bridger Lee Frederick on Facebook as well. And that's like pretty much your only hope of getting me socially, because I hate being on the phone. I hate, not that I dislike interacting with, individual interactions that I have on there. I just hate spending time on phones and computers. It sucks the soul out of me, and I love talking to people on FaceTime. I love talking to people on the phone, but it's work for me to do it over social media or text messaging. It just takes a lot of time, and more than anything, it like snaps me out of focus. Like every time I get on my phone, it's like I break this long train of thought I've worked so hard to accumulate to, and it's now like I gotta take like 10 steps back. But that's neither here nor there, unrelated to this video. Like I said, hit it up in the comment section below. Sorry that I keep looking at myself on the screen. I'm not a pro yet. I'm trying to look at the camera and look at you guys over there. So I wish you happiness, health, and wealth, and I hope that this finds you having a beautiful day. Anyways, over and out.